Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to episode 5 of Hell's Paradise. So last time, Yuzuriha decided to join the crew, and yeah, that's pretty much the gist of what happened last episode. I know it's not a lot, but it's like that was the really important stuff. We got some, like, I guess more looks into the demons and shit, but the big gist of it was Yuzuriha is joining the crew, kind of reluctantly, um, in terms of how it's being viewed by Gabimaru. But she does have some good information, just based on like observation of this place and these creatures. So she's proving to be useful for the time being. But she is a kunoichi, which means that she is going to possibly betray them. In fact, I'd say it's pretty much guaranteed that that's going to happen. And Gabimaru is very much prepared for that. So the question kind of comes into play now, what's next? We've like increased our group at the moment, but where do we go from here? Do we just wander around? I guess we're gonna find out. But yeah, I've been obviously, like I've made clear, very much enjoying this, so I'm excited to see where this goes. We're gonna get started and find out. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, this arc had a lot with Sagari's growth, which had been a continuing plot point throughout these first episodes and all. It's been showing how she's been growing, finding strength, her concerns, her issues, and I like that. I like that how one of our main characters is consistently needing growth, consistently needing to be encouraged and pushed. She's not perfect, and she's got a lot of issues, a lot of concerns, a lot of self-doubt. But through Gabimaru, through seeing everyone else working here, she's trying to better herself, become stronger, become more focused. And in this episode specifically, we see her basically giving the big middle finger to the patriarchy. It sounds funny to say. It's not. It's always kind of funny to specifically use the term patriarchy in this way and everything, but it's accurate because as we see here, especially with Genji, she is kind of forced into this ideal for her, because even though she's being allowed to act as a samurai, she's being looked down on even by her father for it. Everyone thinks that because she's the daughter of Asa, the head of the Yamada clan, she should be behaving like a woman and acting in her own lane. She should be bearing children and acting as a wife and mother and everything, rather than a warrior. That this isn't the life for a woman. And even as she explains this and explains her convictions and everything to Genji at the end here, we see that he's just like, yeah, no, fuck that. You're a woman, you have to be a woman. And he even tries to attack her simply because she's trying to be a warrior, trying to live a life that she's choosing. And it's like, by this point, I'm already like on the kind of like Genji can go fuck off and die train, because I am very against things like sexism and racism and shit like that, and characters who are so insistent on that and so like forceful about it, especially to the point where they would rather attack and kill a woman than let her live out a quote unquote man's role. Like, yeah, you can fucking die. So when he's attacked at the end by the big dude, the bear dude, don't remember his name, but it's like when he's attacked at the end by him, it's like, cool, I like you, bear dude, I'm on your side. I know how harsh and terrible that might sound, but it's like I genuinely hated this guy. I genuinely wanted him to die because his ideals, his beliefs, his entire mindset on women was so actively sexist and fucked up that I just couldn't I couldn't get over that. I couldn't reconcile with that. So yeah. But I think one of the biggest appeals of this episode is getting to know another of the characters. And that's something I've really enjoyed, and which is why I'm also a little disappointed that some of the characters were just killed off unceremoniously when we first arrived at the island, like the cannibal courtesan lady. It's like I wanted to know so much more about her, and instead she's just killed off, like, off screen. And it's just like, that sucks. That sucks ass. But we're still getting to learn more about our characters who are still alive here. And one of them is a character I definitely wanted to know more about from when we saw her in what would you call it? The encampment area with the Shogun and everything in Edo. It was in Edo. Before they headed off to the island, when they were dwindling their numbers and everything, and getting the full details of the mission. When in Edo, there were like all the different criminals shown, and she was one of them. Obviously referring to Narugai. So we see in this episode, it gives some development for her. We actually get to tackle this character now. We see Narugai with Tenza, the Asaimon assigned to her, and they are trying to escape the island. Tenza is, as he says himself, pretty dumb. He's not the smartest dude, but he has a good heart. He genuinely does. And he wants to get Narugai off because he believes in her innocence. He believes that she's the one who most deserves to live out of all of these prisoners, these criminals, and he wants to make sure that she is protected. Though he doesn't initially know she is a girl, and I'll touch on that. But they, on their attempt to get off the island, find that the currents are too strong, meaning there must be a current that somewhere that does allow them to get off. Also, there's a bunch of sea monsters, such as giant krakens and shit, that they have to deal with. It seems like they're not aggressive unless they're provoked, but either way, they are basically stopping anyone from being able to get off the island, which is a problem. So Narugai and Tenzai, or Tenzai? It's like, Tenza. Narugai and Tenza managed to get back to the island safe and sound, a little bloodied up, but, you know, alive and not really that injured. And that's when Tenza finds out that Narugai is a girl because she strips to wash the blood off of her. And yeah, apparently in her people's culture, like, nudity is not really frowned down upon, or not really frowned upon, but it's not really like they don't view it as a big deal. Let's put it that way. They don't view it as a big deal. So like she's kind of confused why he's so flustered about it and everything. Um, but outside of that, which yeah, that scene is a little weird because I've said before I'm not a fan of like fan service being levied towards child characters, and I did look it up. She is 12. It it's gross. It is. But at least it wasn't done for the sake of sexualization in this. I can at least give this series that. It wasn't done for the sake of sexualizing her, but rather to show a cultural aspect of where she comes from and like how she views things differently in regards to that than the, I don't want to say average person, than the people outside of her tribe, outside of the Sanka. But during all of this, we find out exactly what her backstory is. She was a young Sanka girl, that this group of people who lived outside of the shogunate. They were viewed by the shogunate as traitors, as being against the shogun just based on the fact that they're not serving him, basically. So one day she ends up seeing some soldiers and invites them back to her camp to rest and everything. In it, very innocently, they end up murdering literally everyone there except her, and taking her as a prisoner for interrogation, and to eventually be executed. It's like, Jesus fuck. It's like you want to give a backstory to a character that's going to instantly like make me care about them. It's like this is definitely it. Cuz it's like this girl is literally innocent. There is absolutely zero like criminal act to her. I worded that terribly and I apologize. No, there's nothing criminal about her. Like, unlike some of these others who are like, there was a cannibal who would lure in victims to kill and eat. You had ninja who were violent murderers and stuff. It's like you had all of this kind of like, all these kind of murderers and violent criminals and everything. Then you have this girl who's literally innocent in every way, never actively killed anyone. Like, you could maybe say like she's like responsible for the deaths of her tribe, but if you do say that, I hate you, because fuck that idea. She is not responsible. She is baby, and she deserves to be protected. Um, I said it in the reaction. I tend to grow very attached to characters pretty easily and quickly, and if you give them like this traumatic backstory, like it's even more so. Like, if you've watched my reactions to Symphogear, you definitely understand like how much I like really grow like attached to trauma baby characters. And it's more than just Symphogear, obviously, but that's been a big one for that specifically. And yeah, it's like just instantly it's like I need her to be safe. I need Narugai to be safe and protected. Like, she easily could end up being my favorite character just because I don't entirely know what it is exactly about traumatized young characters, trauma baby characters, that just appeals to me. Like, it's just like I just have this natural instinct to want them to be protected, to want them to be safe and happy. And so it's like I just get very defensive of them. I don't know if it's like this almost maternal instinct, or whatnot, but it's just like whenever I see like a trauma baby character, like upset or in danger, or just in general. It's like I just want them to be safe and protected and happy, and I get very attached to them very quickly. Chris in Symphogear, great example of this, obviously. Um, but yeah, it's very much the same, very much the same with Narugai here. I'm not saying she's my favorite character yet because we haven't seen a lot of her. I'm still kind of leaning towards Gabimaru at the moment, with Sagari probably as close second, but I would put her in third at the moment. Though she could very, very easily take that top spot for me, depending on how her story continues to go as this series continues. Um, and her Asaimon, being so supportive of her as well, being a genuinely good guy who uh, believes in her innocence, and despite being a samurai under the shogun, is against what they've done to her and her tribe. Like, the dude is just, he's got great heart. He's got absolutely great heart. Um, he's definitely going to die. Like, the death flags are everywhere on him. He's too nice, he's too supportive, he's too caring over her. He's definitely going to die. And it's going to hurt because he's so genuinely good. Like, you see some of these other Asaimon, and it's like, yeah, Sagari's a nice person. She has a good heart, too. But, like, you see some of the others, and it's like, they're not necessarily the best. Like, you see Genji, obviously, being a shitbag. But even the other dude there, the one with the glasses, like, even he was saying, like, he kind of half agrees with Genji. And it's like, he's not being an asshole about it, but it's not the best. It's really not. And just in general, we've seen kind of how the shogunate and those under it operate by this point, which unfortunately is pretty real. The shogunate in real life was not great either, and the samurai under it very much victimized people all the time. It's not a good part of Japan's history at all. Um, and it's actually reflected a lot in anime and video games and stuff. It's like, it's almost like they've kind of learned from those past mistakes. Like, they've kind of understood how terrible they were in the past. It's definitely better than a lot of America. Um, but you see all the time in, like, anime and manga and video games where the shogunate are basically the bad guys. Where there might be, like, individuals who are good, but they, in general, are shown to be bad. Are shown to be murderous and horrible and just terrible people. um so it's like, yeah, this episode was really good, and I'm very interested to see Narugai's continued arc here. And also, I'm just really fucking hoping she doesn't die. Because if this 12-year-old baby dies, I will definitely cry, and I will probably be inconsolable over it. Like, I'm not okay with that. Like, this is an innocent 12-year-old baby. Like, I would not be okay with her being killed off. At all. So, yeah, I just genuinely just don't want that to happen. I'd be Weirdly enough, I would be more okay with Gabimaru being killed off, even though I don't want him to die either. But I would be more okay with that. I've like already become super protective over Naragai. It's like I do not want her to die. I she needs to survive more than anyone. I'm agreeing with Tenza there. Um, she needs and deserves to survive after everything that's happened to her, especially. But just in general, it's like you just don't kill kids, please. Just don't. It's like I don't need to be this upset. um, but tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of Hell's Paradise? Did you enjoy it as much as I did? What do you think of Naragai and Tensa? Did you agree that Genji deserved what he got there? And how are the others going to take care of this big bear dude? Like, he seems really fucking strong and kind of terrifying. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen there. Like, obviously we know how strong our main characters are, but this dude is really intimidating. If Gabimaru just came up and took him out with one hit, that would be kind of badass, but I don't kind of see that happening, weirdly enough. Either way, tell me your thoughts down below, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.